Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Nice to see you today. My name is Dustin Cormier, and welcome to another episode of How to Rock Astrology. Today we are going to be talking about what it is all about when you have Sun in Leo and Mars in Virgo. This is part of a series where, excuse me, I'm particularly getting at the sense of what's the Sun and Mars relate, how they relate to your sex drive, and what sex drive means to the spirit. I'm trying to blend all these things. Hope you guys enjoy it. For more about me, you can feel free to visit dustincormier.net, where you can check out my poetry and erotica psychedelic book. And here's a little view of my chart, just so you get a sense of the personality who is giving you this information. Something I like to do it in all my videos lately. Give you a sense of the subject, which is telling you about the object of our conversation. The subject, talking about, anyway. Welcome. Today we're talking about the Sun in Leo with Mars in Virgo. Here we have Mars and Virgo. If you want to learn a little bit more about Mars and Virgo, feel free to refer to the start of this series where I had like a 27-minute video talking about Mars and Virgo. One of the key points that we pulled from that is that Mars is debilitated in here for two reasons. This is not one of the best places for Mars. One of the reasons is that despite the fact that when you read astrology books and you see that Mars is debilitated in Cancer, you might think, oh, it's only bad in Cancer. I'm in Virgo, so that's not such a bad thing. Well, Mars is still very much... Debilitation is about proximity to the debilitation point. This is in close proximity to Cancer, so that damages this Mars a little bit. What that's all about is that Mars... The closer Mars is to Cancer, it's got a summer solstice vibe. It's like hot, but not in the right way. Mars is a fiery planet, but it actually likes when it's in Capricorn, because Capricorn is winter solstice vibes, where the hot Mars can coolly calculate and discern what is the best way to consistently be on guard and to consistently be a channel expresser for the desires of the sun. When it's in Capricorn, it develops a relationship between its desires of the sun and what it can realistically, consistently channel and express. And it's inspired to cultivate discipline of the body, to firmly push through the psychological imbalances and the things that it meets in material reality in a consistent way. It's like learning to be a swordsman. Throw me anywhere. I've developed the capacity to be a professional swordsman who can deal with anything. This Mars is quite close to Cancer, and so it's a little bit emotionally spun. It only learns how to be a swordsman when it fits its most preferred feeling. It's like, I'm feeling really like a swordsman right now, so yeah, I'll go out there and I'll do it. But if the mood isn't right, if the energy isn't right, then they'll say, I'm not feeling it today. And what good is a warrior who is like, it's like the enemy's knocking on your door and they're like, hey, we're ready to pillage you, and you're like, I don't know, I'm not feeling it today. That's how you get ransacked, right? Mars in Virgo, what it is that makes Mars and Virgo not really feeling it is that it's an intellectual place for Mars. It wants to intellectually think about the perfect expression for its energy, which reality does not always give it. Now, in this case, especially thinking sexually, Mars in Virgo is a very picky perfectionist for the relationships that it chooses to use to express the Sun in Leo. This is a Mars that's picky, that's sentimental and cutesy in a way, and Leo is also sentimental. It's the plucky dandelion who loves to be romantic and loves to be in a playful way, to be artful, soulful, even does the whole poetry thing. And the Mars in Virgo will be good actually at like probably writing the perfect affectionate display to the lover. What's kind of frustrating here is that the Sun in Leo wants to be that loyal, affectionate lover and to express things consistently, like a cat going and getting like eating birds and then putting it on the doorstep. Here's another one. Here's another one. I've got all this love for you that I can just bomb you with all the time. That's what Leo would love to do for the perfect partner. Here, the Leo is kind of stunted by the fact that it's thinking so much through the Mars and Virgo about what the lover would like. And they might even ask them all the time. But the lover's response that they communicate is always changing because they change as a person. And what the Leo thought was this perfect display, this communication. They spend all this time making this perfect present, and then they give it to the lover. And then it could be amazing. It could be a beautiful thing. But this is part of Mars being close to Cancer. It's like a shotgun energy. It's like gives all of this affection at one time, spends a lot of energy on it even, when all they might have really needed to do was write a good enough little short thrift poetry thing. That's like something that's it was thought about, but it wasn't too like perfectionisty about it. Like, oh, are they going to get what I mean when I say that? Is that going to are they going to like what I mean or where I'm getting at with that? And there's this is the problem with Mars and Virgo. It's a whole lot of thinking about what they could and should do. And then they end up just like, I've got to put something, They might just think it forever. And they might make these beautiful gifts, beautiful gestures that are well thought out, well planned out. And for someone who does appreciate that, it's damn dandy and cute. But not only this is all if this Leo finds the ideal partner. If and when they do, they will waste a lot of energy trying to give the perfect gesture. And it's only these little gestures that they give that they're so perfectionist about it that the lover might just say to them, like, how about we just like go for a walk, and it doesn't need to be that intensely perfect. Every gesture you give doesn't need to be that perfect. Calm down, make a mistake. I'll love it if you do because you try so hard not to. So the Leo here there's an egotism involved in this. The Sun, Leo, is using Mars in Virgo to get what it wants, because Mars is pitted to the purpose of the Sun always and everywhere. Mars is the general and the Sun is the king, and the king here is in the throne of Leo, and it wants to feel like a king and look like a king. And it can be the Sun in Leo is just kind of naturally good at being a king anyway, but they can be a little over, this isn't the best place even for the Sun, although it is, there's a lot of good that comes from Sun and Leo. It's in its own sign. The nature of the Sun is in a sign which befits the nature of the Sun because it's its own sign. The Sun does better in Aries, mind you. The Sun is now quite far from its exaltation point, but it's in Leo, so there's a strength, there's a lot of virile energy, a lusty energy even, a deep desire to prove to itself that it is as good as it thinks it is. And this egotism, which is not always necessarily a bad thing, it's really exacerbated by Mars in Virgo, which is always trying to be perfect. How this kingly personality seeks to exalt its own kingliness is through a nitpicky perfectionist who will try hard to be this perfect lover, this perfect romantic person, this perfect, even domineering and dominating personality But they will also be thinking about the other lover, and it's almost even a frustrating tension just thinking about like what would make this lover perfectly love me for these gestures that I want to give. And even the gestures might be superficial in a certain way. It'll come from, their heart will be in the right place. But sometimes they just want to keep showing these constant cards of this affection just so that I have you. It's mostly born from a sense of a desire for the lover, but it's also born from security. I want to keep my kingly reputation with others and with you. I want you to think that I'm a king so that I myself can see the reflection of my beauty in your eyes as the king that we both want me to be. And if my gestures, if my Mars, if my way of channeling this desire isn't just damn perfect all the time, then I'm going to feel every little nuance of your face that is not emblissoned by the intensity of my resolve. I got Leo rising, so I'm like blah, 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 blah. But this is kind of the curse and blessing of this personality. Everything is really a curse and a blessing in a certain way, you know? Both of these signs have traveled quite far from their exaltation point, so there's a bit of wasted energy in the wrong sense of what would inspire the nature of what they're really trying to get. The Sun in Leo wanting this to feel kingly, to feel royal, and to feel like the soul of their lover is deeply connected to theirs. There's a romantic sentiment in this person. But the Mars in Virgo overthinks it, as we're going to read. We're going to read about how there's a romantic idealism that stops this Leo from thinking like, it's like, I want my ego to feel kingly all the time. And I'm going to wait until I find a person where, oh, I've got you now, where I know exactly what you like and exactly how to dominate you and make you feel like I'm Mr. Kingly number one. And they'll really thoroughly research Mars and Virgo, the perfect person, when all the while the perfect lover could be right under their nose. But the Mars in Virgo is looking for stupid little details that have nothing to do with what could really be a fiery connection, you know? Be careful if you're an astrologer with this combination, because you might look... It takes a lot of study in astrology to find what's a good soul match. And you might just be like, oh, their Venus isn't in trine with my Venus, so they must be no good. Pfft, you know? Meanwhile, they could have like some Rahu connection or some like beautiful other thing that you would not have thought about that leads to a perfect lovingness. You can make a good astrologer, actually, a romantic astrologer. But it's just, you know, you got to deal with the blessing and curse of thinking about love and not actually dissolving yourself in it. So, that was my personal little rendition. Let's see what Erotic Astrology by Phyllis Vega says about when you have Sun in Leo and Mars in Virgo. You are caring and loyal, but romantic idealism and a desire for perfection can undermine your relationships. You require a great deal of attention and pampering, and when you get it, you're much less inclined to find fault with your mate. It's like you can be schmoozed with affection and pampering, and even with this Mars and Virgo thing, again, it's like, I've said this before, that they can be energized and find a functional lover by them showing them affection and showing them sensual, constant little affections. And you could be spoiled and think that the artifice of this person's affection means the deep lovingness that you crave. But so, you know, you're much less inclined to find fault with your mate if they give you all this affection that you desire. But it might not mean that they're a perfect soulmate for you. What should be said, though, is that you're probably too romantically idealistic, and if someone opens the door for you to connect with them, it might be a good thing. It's a funny, frustrating duality there for you. I hope you see what I'm getting at there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. this is me talking about these figures, you know. Let me know in the comments, as I always say, if I'm hitting the mark for you, because I'm always curious as to whether I hit the mark in these things that I say. But I'm just another astrologer on YouTube. Use your intuition. In the privacy of the bedroom, you are a sensual, passionate lover who demonstrates affection through deeds as well as words. That's an interesting, cute one. It's the passion of Leo, even the sensuality, who demonstrates through affection, the leonine thing, but also through deeds. You asked me about this kink that you have, and you said it, and I remember it, and I'm going to play it through for you. You know, it's this deeds, the reliable usefulness of Virgo, which can be probably super juicy because Leo will do anything to really get that effect on someone. You possess a vivid imagination, and acting out erotic fantasies appeals to your sense of the theatrical, the Leo. The Virgo here probably loves situational erotica, as we see here. Sexy attire turns you on, and with a partner you trust, you enjoy simulating fanciful scenes of torrid seduction. Someone, you know, like your lady's in bed, and you come to the door, and you knock on the door, and she's in her nightgown, and she's like, "Oh, hi, are you the maintenance guy?" And you say, "How's it going, darling? How's it going, ma'am? I was wondering if I could come in and clean your pipes." Ooh, well, I thought you'd never ask. You know, these kinds of like fun role play things. It's probably something that this Leo will feel like really engaged to do the theater of. And the Mars and Virgo will make a perfect plan for, like, you know, so, okay, baby, so after I walk in the door, like, what's going to happen? Should I come in and are you, you know, maybe you can, like, you'll be telling the lover, maybe you can have, like, the mood lighting going on. And maybe when we go upstairs, you'll have rose petals in the bed already. I don't know. You would probably want it to be real, so you wouldn't want to be too planned out like that. But the Mars and Virgo is, like, thinking, like, what would make this the sexiest thing ever, right? Pretty juicy, actually. I like that kind of, like, I don't know. I got Venus in Virgo, so I'm kind of turned on myself about these mental states of, like, seduction. But I digress. I'm Dustin Cormier for How to Rock Astrology. Let me know what you think in the comments about this, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Keep your eyes out for my next series of whatever videos I'm going to put out. Take care.